We've had an explosive weekend of SRL so far, but this could be the best game yet. We've got the Premiers, the Manly Seagulls, at home taking on one of their biggest rivals, the North Queensland Cowboys. There's a lot of star factor all around the park. We've got some big matchups. Joining me in commentary tonight is Lachlan Martin. Lachlan, what are you most looking forward to tonight?
Yeah, every time these teams go head-to-head, there's always something to look forward to. Obviously, last year was Chris Lord, the captain, being sin-binned. Cowboys were hoping for that to go a different way this time after, that happened a couple games ago. Obviously, they versed in the finals last year. That also didn't go for the Cowboys. Cowboys are looking to cause an upset here against the very formidable Manly side that are looking to go back, or I guess get the three-peat this season.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk during the off-season how big the salary cap was going to affect teams like Manly and North Queensland, who were at the top echelon of teams in Season 3. But, you saw how Manly played against Brisbane in the trials last week. It does not seem like it's going to faze them at all as we are underway here. Callum Irwin takes the first run and gets 15 metres away from his own try line. Thomas Wallace is the hooker tonight. He gives it off to Damien Moana to Mobston, who makes an early break, but gives it straight away to Brad Goodwin. They can't afford to make errors like that. The North Queensland Cowboys and, the Manly Seagulls, they're now on the attack with Kyle Lewis at dummy half. That's one of their new changes, on with Dingo as well to Chapman Kenny, So there's been some changes in and around the Manly side. Lachlan, I'll get your thoughts once they aren't on the attack anymore, as Melhurt takes this ball forward, coming, of course, from Penrith. That'll be third tackle. He goes to the line, Kyle Lewis, but he got cleaned up. That's a big shot. Chapman Kenny to dummy half. Now Harris goes long. Good defence there on Goodwin from the Cowboys edge defence. We're 2 minutes in, and it's the last tackle. They give it to Dingo, but Dingo drops the ball. Good result for the Cowboys. Good defence, but they need to get through this set. Lachlan, what's your thoughts on the first set of the game?
Yeah, it was a bit of a weird set from Manly. We didn't really throw much at the Cowboys there. Ended with a pretty poor end to set from a poor knock on.
I'll interrupt you here. Irwin's on the way through. That's some beautiful footy there. I think it was Chris Lord that broke free of one and managed to get his arm away. And now the Cowboys, they are on the attack. Damien Moana goes long to Almatagi. Almatagi, can he stay in? He does. Malachi Booth almost threw him across the sideline. We know how big Booth is and how strong he is as Wallace goes long to Irwin. There's a lot of space. Can he make it to the line? He does. Callum Irwin. He's got the first try for the Cowboys this season. We're going to head to the bunker, but I think it was pretty clear. They've called no try. But yeah, he's got this ball down. Great footy from the Cowboys early on, and Manly, suddenly they're under a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, Manly, they're not usually behind, but they're going to start behind in this one. Callum Irwin definitely deserves to get a try. Ran for 200 metres last week in just 43 minutes. He's such a workhorse, Callum Irwin, and he gets the biscuits early on. And a good start here. Made a break up the middle early on. And despite Cowboys making an early error, they go pretty much 100 metres in one set to score the opening try.
Yeah, they showed no real fear to move the ball around, did they? And they did in that first set too. Of course, that offload was taken by the Manly defence. But they've just shown no fear at all to move the footy around. Chris Lord, bumping through tackles, got an early little offload away to one of his teammates. Then they go down the blind side. Almatagi tries to burn them. And then, just great ball playing and a big try for Callum Irwin.
It was really...
Sorry, continue, Lachlan.
Yeah, it was a really good start there from the Cowboys. I was interested to see actually kind of concerning how easily they made meters in that first set. Not something you used to see with Manly, but the Cowboys, they've started good here. They have to go on with the job, though.
Manly haven't lost since Season 2 when they took on the Canberra Raiders. I believe the score was something along the lines of 30-2. Since then, they have been undefeated, but they're looking a bit shaky at the moment. Oh, but that's good defence from Chapman Kenny on Bunty Cambolo. One of the best rookies in Season 3. But Chapman Kenny, he threw him out over the sideline. But they're leaking easy meters at the moment. But yeah, good defence there from Chapman Kenny and good commitment from Booth to get there as well. So Manly are right back on the attack.
Yeah, it was good defence there from Chapman Kenny. The one thing I was concerned about him being at fullback was his defence. Let a couple tries slip in last week, obviously Sam Herman burning him as KCK makes a break here, but yeah, that was one thing I was concerned with about KCK being at fullback, but his defence there was really good there.
Yeah, we haven't seen much of him at fullback, only in small patches as per catch. He's got the arm away there after a good run But so far, he looks like he's doing the job pretty well as he's in dummy half now. He goes right. Will Kay, I thought he was going to kick the ball there for some reason, but he's taken the tackle. He's about 2 meters out from the Cowboys. Oh, it's a try from Booth. They go down the blind side and they find results straight away. And it's Malachi Booth, who was one of their best at the back end of last season. And he's got Manly's first try of season 4.
Yeah, good try here by Manly. It was a good ball there by, I'm not entirely sure who that was from the Manly Sea Eagles, but it was a beautiful cut-up ball. And Campbell just had a little bit of gap open up, and it was enough space for Malachi Booth to stroll over to open the scoring for the Manly Sea Eagles.
Yeah, we've seen the Cowboys and Manly both attack those inexperienced edges of Campbell and Malachi Booth. And, you know, we saw the Cowboys get results. Tyler Amatagi pretty much burned Malachi Booth early in the piece, earlier in the set before the North Queensland Cowboys got their first try. And now all of a sudden they do the same thing. They go down there and they catch out Bunty Cambolo in defence. So I think a lot of points can come from those edges respectively.
You'd have to agree there. I think the edges is someone that you have to look out for. Obviously, Bunty Cambolo, we know what a weapon he is in attack. Defense is something that he could probably work on there. You know, he probably should have been on the wing more. Had a bit of a gap open up, and that's what led to the first try for the Sea Eagles.
Yeah, well, we've had 10 points in about 7 minutes of play, Lachlan, so it's been a really strong start to the game by both teams with the ball, but they need to tighten up without it as Jesse Bennett. He was one of Manly's best last season, and he takes this ball up down the middle. Kyle Lewis at dummy half. I will ask for your thoughts on that. Of course, you know, the whole Manly spine's been shook up, given that they've won 2 in a row with, you know, Kyle Lewis in the halves. I wonder if this move to hooker is the right move, Lachlan. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I think it all comes down to the fact they're forced to get rid of a few of the spine players. Obviously, Butterfield's the big one, having to move from Manly last season due to salary cap pressure. They eventually decided, and also Bo Sadler having to leave. You know, Kyle Lewis was, I believe, one of the halves of the season in season 2. Had a bit of a quiet season last year, and then decided to move him to hooker. Only time will tell that'll be a good move though.
Cambolo makes an early break, but Chapman Kenny again stands up defensively and he throws him onto his back. The North Queensland Cowboys, they're coming for Manly now. As Damian Moana goes short to Cal Sarkow, and Cal Sarkow goes straight through. We've seen some line breaks as an offload was almost taken by Manly, but the Cowboys are still on the attack. Damian Moana goes down the short side to Amatagi. He was quiet at the back end of last season at fullback. He's playing in the centres. I'm not sure about that change, if I'm honest, but either way, Thomas Wallace now, he gives it off to Chris Lord. He's taken well there by the Manly forwards. Moana gives it off now to Callum Irwin, and they're in really good field position. They've gained about 72 metres in that set, and they can put in a really good kick here as it's Moana who will have that opportunity. He puts it up high, but it's too deep, and the chase was not impressive either. Chapman Kenny, he can bring it back to the 20.
Yeah, it was a good set by the Cowboys, but that was not the kick they needed. It needed to be a little bit more shallow to get some of the chases under it, to make it a contest, but that kick was never a contest. It was too deep, and the only player ever catching that was Chapman Kenny.
Yeah, Chapman Kenny, he's got a big height advantage on a lot of these players as well, so I'm not sure if the high ball to him is really the right decision. I would be kicking towards this man. He's making a strong break now, Malachi Booth, given I think that he's, you know, his game is revolves around strength and speed. I'm not sure how well he would go under the high ball. He's not as agile as a lot of the other wingers and fullbacks in the SRL, as they're going to give away a penalty here. Kyle Lewis threw the ball at a player retreating to marker. That's one thing that, you know, can be exploited by teams at times in this competition, and Manly do it to perfection there, and they will be right on the attack as Chaz Dingo finds touch.
Yeah, what was poor penalty by the Cowboys? Never under pressure here.
Kyle Lewis will take the tap, and Matthew Harris comes off the back fence. The former captain, Kane Chapman Kenny, of course, has taken the honours once again as they go short to Jesse Bennett, running a strong line, but that's good defence from the Cowboys. They drive him back onto his back here for the second. Lewis gives it to Kay. Kay short pass to Melhurt. Melhurt's going to drive for the line, but they put him on his back just short of the try line. But Manly, they aren't going away, so they give it to Lewis. Lewis short pass. Oh, there could have been an argument for hit without the ball there. I'm not sure who it was, but regardless, the Cowboys, they survive what could have been another Manly onslaught.
Yeah, it was good to see them sort of put their body on the line there. A massive shot to jog the ball loose there. I'm not entirely sure who that was that put the big hit on, but whoever it was a great effort there. get in the way there. Didn't want to leave it up to chance, and the Cowboys now have the ball back.
Yeah, Caval, he'll take on the line here. Haven't seen much of Rahan so far tonight in the first 14 minutes of the game. Moana is usually that dominant playmaker after all, as they go right to Cooper Gronk, and he puts in a strong left foot kick. Maverick Oldfield retreating back, had to move backwards quite a fair bit, but he brings the ball back to the 30 with a strong return, and now Manly can go on to the attack. I want to ask you, after Chapman-Kenny will throw this ball off, I thought we might see one of those typical Chapman-Kenny line breaks, but what's your thoughts on Chaz Dingo? He's, of course, moving into that 5/8 position. Chapman-Kenny at fullback. Do you think that 5/8 is a good position for Chaz? He's obviously played there a little bit.
Yeah, look,
for Manly.
Originally I was a bit concerned about it. Obviously, I think we know how good Chaz Dingo can be at fullback, but he only scored 2 tries last year. Probably had one of his more quieter seasons in a while. And I think, over the past, his transition in the 5/8 position, I think it worked well. Set up 3 tries last week and was probably Manly's second best player behind, obviously, Casey K, who is the other player moving fullback. So I think it's a good move for Manly.
Yeah, good defense here on the edge there, throwing Maverick Oldfield over the touchline. But I do agree with you. I think that Manly have such a good system. I think that they're the exception, not the example, if that makes sense. But, these teams, they're really persisting with the short sides at the moment. They're finding a little bit of success, but I think right here in the middle, both teams look a bit loose in and around the ruck, and I think that's where they can find a lot of success, as that's Sarkow this time making a strong break, and Thomas Wallace will throw this ball onto Irwin, who's had a big start to this game. Of course, he scored the only try for the Cowboys so far tonight, as Chris Lord will take it up, and he breaks straight through. He's fired up the captain, and he makes a really good run, and he will play the ball 15 metres out here on the 4th tackle, and it's Mobston. Short pass away to Sarkow. He'll drive towards the line, but there's 2 defenders there, and they manage to drag him to the ground. It's about 4 metres out. Wallace, he gives it to Moana. Moana goes high, this time to Booth. Booth's underneath it. But he lets it bounce, and he takes it, but he's going to be forced in goal. A really chaotic end to the set there, but the Cowboys get a result.
Yeah, both players went up for it. He just sort of bounced between them, both missing it. Booth was lucky he bounced towards him when he got the ball back, but it wasn't without him being dragged back into the end goal for the Cowboys getting a repeat set.
Yeah, like I said earlier in the piece, I think they definitely should keep kicking towards Malachi Booth. I think he's probably the guy that they can exploit the most under the high ball compared to Kane Chapman-Kenny. Even Maverick Oldfield to some extent. I think Mav gives away a fair bit of height, so he might be a guy to kick to as well, but definitely avoiding Chapman-Kenny on that kick, which Damien Moana did to perfection. It was a it was a perfectly weighted kick, to be honest. It was a great kick from him. Sarkow drives forward again. He's been great tonight so far, Jamal. Hopefully he can sustain this for the whole game, as Wallace in dummy half now. Caval out to Maxwell. He beats one, but he'll get beaten and dragged to the ground. And it is 5th and last. We're almost to the 20-minute mark, and it will be Wallace who gives it away to Moana. He chases his own kick, but Prakash got back there, and he will make it back over the try line. So great work there from Lennox Prakash. And the Cowboys, they've got to wind up defensively now.
Yeah, I don't know how he managed to have the end goal there, Lennox Prakash. I thought for certain it was being dragged back and the Cowboys were going to get another repeat set, but it just managed to charge his way out. And it was very good work there by Lennox Prakash.
Yes, the Cowboys make an error here. I think it was their captain, actually. Their ex-captain, sorry, I get it. They need to stop changing captains, Lachlan. It's just confusing the you-know-what out of me, but an error there from Matthew Harris. I was going to talk about Lennox. He had a pretty quiet season last season, was missed out on rep honours. He was pretty disappointed, of course, of being omitted from the New South Wales side. Had some off-field issues as well, but he seems to be finding some form here at Manly, which is really good to see. As Maxwell, he comes off an inside ball. They were looking dangerous there. Wallace gives it to Moana. Moana along to Sarkow. Blackburn's coming in. Can they stop him? They do barely. But that's a really strong run from Sarkow. He gets a quick play of the ball as well to Moana, who goes high. Underneath it is the Cowboys, but great take from Maverick Oldfield this time. I thought Chapman-Kenny was going to take that one, but Maverick did really well there.
Yeah, great work there by Maverick. I thought he might have had a little bit of a struggle there, considering I think he's also similar to Malachi Booth there. He's not the tallest winger, but he managed to get up there and get his hands there to make the catch. Great catch there by Maverick Oldfield.
Yeah, there's been a lot of pressure on the Seagulls by the Cowboys early in this game, but they're starting to find inroads in attack. Let's see if the Cowboys can hold them out. It's Matthew Harris playing the ball on the 40-metre line. They go long to Kay. Kay gives away the ball. They've got to cut that out of their game. They're usually pretty good at reducing errors, Manly, but so far tonight they've made some pretty critical errors and pretty important field position, as well as Maxwell comes off his left foot.
Yeah, Seagulls, this is very on Seagulls like to begin this game. Quite a few errors. I think they've made 4 already. We'll have to see how they go continuing on in this game, as it's Manly need to fix it up, because Cowboys are a quality side. They keep making these errors. They may struggle a bit, Manly.
Yeah, as Moana, he gives it off to Kausakau. Again, he's been the everywhere man. He's having just about a run or two in every single set. He'll play the ball to Wallace. He gives it to Johnston. Johnston inside to Maxwell. He beats one. He goes for the line. Chapman Kenny's underneath. Can they stop him? They do. They wrap up the legs. He's going to have to come back 10 metres. They call it held up. Good decision. No bunker needed. And the Cowboys will play the ball at the 10-metre line. They give it to Moana. He stops. He sets this ball up again to Booth. Can he take it? No. Batted back from Gronk. But Maxwell, great defence from the Manly Seagulls. But again, there's a clear weapon that they can exploit, and that is kicking towards this man, Malachi Booth.
Yeah, look, Malachi Booth is not the tallest winger, but so far tonight he's done pretty well defensively. He's managed to keep the Cowboys out. Tap back. We see so often those tap backs scored, but I think it might have even been him who made the tackle on Terry Maxwell once the ball ended up in his hands, and they keep him out. Good work there by Seagulls.
Yeah, Maxwell, he's obviously moved into fullback this season. He didn't play much footy back there at all for the New Zealand Warriors, given who their fullback was last season, the Sim VP himself, Chance Bunce. But, he didn't get his positioning right there. Cooper Gronk with the tap back, he just wasn't there in time. He had to pick it up, and by then the Manly Seagulls defence was ready to take him out. And this will be 5th tackle now anyway. Chapman Kenny at dummy half gives it to Harris. Are they going to call a knock on? No, the same came off his head. Harris breaks through and 1. Good defence there again by Maxwell, and they drag him down 20 metres out from the Cowboys' try line, and it's the Cowboys' turn to bring this ball back.
Yeah, man, they still seem a little bit unorganised. It's interesting that should consider themselves lucky to only be down 2 points at the moment, considering how unorganised the teams they have been. But their defence is still holding up as they'll get more possession here.
Yeah, I think that's just frustration from the Cowboys there. They have been just banging on the door, but they haven't been able to beat Manly when it counts with the ball. And Manly, they've been defensively strong. There's one thing we give them, but you are right. They have looked pretty disorganised with the ball. Maybe something to do with the changes in the spine. Chaz Dingo, of course, we've already mentioned. He's at 5'8". Will Kay, as there's a forward pass from dummy half here. Disappointing end of the set for Manly. They need to cut these errors out. If these errors weren't in their game, I think Manly could possibly be winning this game, if I'm honest. But regardless, the Cowboys, they are going to march forward now. They give it to Johnston. He breaks free of 1 tackle, comes to the fullback, and Kane Chapman Kenny again. His defence at the back has been really solid, cleaning up a lot of the missed tackles in the middle of the field. As there's another one. Chris Lord's away now, and he comes back. He has to make another tackle, Chapman Kenny. Big effort from him. That's 2 tackles in a row. His teammates, they need to help him out a bit here. They're leaking way too many metres in the middle as Namana absolutely steamrolls one of the Manly players. I think it might have even been Jesse Bennett. That was a great run as they give it short to Pace now, and he will try and get a quick play of the ball so they can get a quick kick away. This is Damian Moana's chance to earn this game. He put a little kick in, but that's not a good kick. In fact, it wasn't even a kick. It was a knock-on, picked up by Chaz Dingo, and here come Manly.
Yeah, disappointing end to the set there for the Cowboys. If Damian Moana could put a beautiful kick in there, he could have potentially even set up a try if he got a repeat set. That should have been his goal, but instead he just stumbles it. And Manly once again survive. I don't know how they survive in all these sets. They don't deserve to only be down by 2 at the moment with all the errors they've been making. Yeah,
well, Kane Chapman Kenny, he has been everywhere so far tonight, Lachlan. I'm watching him at the moment, and we've talked a little bit about can they move Chaz Dingo into 5'8", but you can't move Kane Chapman Kenny right now. He's the everywhere man for the Manly Seagulls, as there's an error for them again. So, for 2 top-tier teams in our competition, there's been plenty of errors to start this one, as Wallace will bring this ball forward. Short pass away to Chris Lord. I say short. It was very flat, very long. Chris Lord will play the ball now. Wallace gives it to Moana. He goes to Kausakau. This time they handled Kausakau really well. They need to straighten up their middle defence. Manly needed so they can get one more push at the Cowboys before half-time. So Kobe Johnston comes off the back fence. Haven't seen too much of Kobe tonight in comparison to his second-row partner in Jamal Kausakau. Regardless, though, Namana's going to break straight through the middle again. He's been really strong off the bench. He's had a great impact, Casey Namana, and he will play the ball 30 metres away from Manly's line. It's going to go to Caval. He's going to chip it towards the corner. Taken well there, though, by Maverick Oldfield, but good defence from the Cowboys. So the Cowboys, they're going to look to wind up here and keep them in their own half of the footy, and it will be Daniel Punch who takes the ball forward.
Yeah, Cowboys, they're doing really well. They've been kicking, like, that was a good kick there, but they still need to find some ways to sort of break this Manly defense. Manly defense, they've been conceding a lot of points from about the, a lot of meters from about the 30 to the other 30. Once they get into that 30, they can press, and they're very hard to break up from there.
Yeah, Kyle Lewis, he's going to go along to Matthew Harris. He's going to kick early in the set. It's not a bad kick. It's looking like a 40-20. Can Maxwell get back there? He does. Oh, and great balance shown. They're not going to be able to put him out. Maxwell with a huge play to stop a 40-20 from Matthew Harris. That would have been a big play too as Cambolo breaks straight through. But yet again, it's our man, Kane Chapman-Kenny, with a big play in defense. They're going to go right now to Moana. Moana gives it to Maxwell. Quick hands to Caval. Caval's going to get absolutely monstered in that tackle. So we've got 7 minutes left in this first half. Manly looking to try and keep a slim deficit at the moment. Maybe try and find some points, whereas the Cowboys want to try and get this game out of the 2-point range. As Moana's going to take on the line here. He'll get taken. Who's going to put their hand up for the kick now? I think Chris Lord, he's in the pocket. No, they're going to go left instead to Almatagi. Puts in a little left foot stab to Malachi Booth. He beats Cambolo. Comes to Maxwell, though, and he cannot get past him. But great kick return regardless. And now Manly are back on the attack.
Yeah, it was a great tackle there by Terry Maxwell. Another breakaway there. Ben Punch, it is. But the Cowboys, they have to be careful here. They haven't given Manly much opportunities, but if Manly have opportunities, they usually take them, so they have to be careful right now.
The middle defense of both teams, to be honest, has left a lot to be desired, but that's some big defense on Ethan Goodwin there by the North Queensland Cowboys right edge defense, and that's textbook stuff. Great stuff from the Cowboys, and they've got one more shot at Manly before half-time. I didn't mention, but that's a huge hit from the Manly Seagulls, and they're back on the attack. Once again, it'll be Goodwin at dummy half. He gives it to Dingo back on the inside to Matthew Harris. He's come alive in the last 5 or so minutes. Laying in the tackle there was Chris Lord. Lewis, he gives it away to Punch. Punch moves forward, gets the offload away to his brother, Ben. Ben will play the ball 20 metres out from Manly's line. Lewis at dummy half again. They go left. Dingo long out to Oldfield, but good defense on Maverick by Cooper Gronk. That's a good battle on that left and right-hand side, respectively. Short pass. I thought he was going to give it to number 14, steaming through Kyle Lewis, but he went long instead to Daniel, and that will be a tackle. They go right, give it to Malachi Booth. Booth with some footwork. Can he drive towards the line? We know how strong he is. They didn't get him that time. Cambolo came racing in to assist Damien Moana. In defense as Blackburn gives it to Harris, but Harris is going to spill the ball before he can put his boot to it, and that will be a changeover.
Yeah, it was good defense there by the Cowboys. The Seagulls showed a lot of promise in that set. They really did put a lot of good attack there together in that set, but it was great defense by the Cowboys. They got them out of trouble there, and I was really impressed with that defense for the Cowboys. So often we see Manly get kept out of their try line from 20 out.
Yeah, it was just good scramble. I think they scrambled really well. They really committed there. Cambolo, of course, is a good example of that, jamming in to help Damien Moana when Booth was steaming through. Can they sustain that for the whole game? I'm not sure, but right now they are playing a really good brand of footy. I do think that they probably could have found some more points, but they're also playing against the Premiers. We have to keep that in mind, as this will be the last. It's going to take a deflection. Lord, he's not going to be able to get this ball away. Oh, no, he does at the last minute, but Irwin's going to get dragged down. So we've got a minute left in the first half. Manly attacking from 50 metres out. Can we see one more try before half-time? I thought this was going to be a pretty high-scoring game, but it's really evened up after that first 7 minutes where we score the first 2 tries of the game. We haven't seen a try since, but it's still been very attractive rugby league as Matthew Harris will drive forward. He'll get dragged down for second, and here come the Seagulls. Dingo, he gives it to Goodwin. Goodwin puts in some good footwork there. 30 seconds left in the first half. Third tackle. Lewis, short pass. Harris, he drives towards the 10-metre line. They've got 15 seconds left, the Manly Seagulls. Here comes Dingo. Dingo to Chapman. Kenny puts on some footwork. Can he get towards the line? They need to wrap up his legs, and they do. And that'll be half-time. 6-4 to the Cowboys. We are back with the second half. The Cowboys, they've got a slim lead over Manly here at Brookvale Oval. Lachlan, what are your thoughts on the first half?
Yeah, the first half was an interesting one. We thought it might have been a really high-scoring game after the opening 7 minutes, with 10 points scored in the opening 7 minutes. But after that, we have not seen a single try. I think the middle defense was still a bit lacking in terms of from about the 20 to the opposite 20. But inside that 20, both sides were able to compress and keep out the points.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the middle defense is still something that they do have to work on. You were, of course, in the sheds at half-time, as it's going to give away an early penalty here for the Cowboys. We talk about that frustration and whether or not the Cowboys can harness it during games, but right there they can't as Dingo will find touch. But what was the message from Matthew Harris and Kane Chad-McKennie in the Manly sheds?
Yeah, well, the main message was stop making errors. They were not happy with the amount of errors they were making. They said they seemed a little bit unorganised. They have to just get that. They had to talk with, the trio of Chaz Dingo, Kyle Lewis, and Will Kay to sort of make sure the team's organised. As there was a few situations in that first half where they just were unorganised. They said they were really happy with their middle defence, and they said their attack was still really good. It was just that errors they were keeping them in the keeping the Cowboys in the game.
Yeah, and the Cowboys, to their credit, they showed some good defense, but with the ball, they were a little bit disappointing at times in that first half as the Manly Seagulls are on the attack here. It's Jesse Bennett who will play the ball 10 metres out on the last, and it's going to go back to Chaz Dingo, and that's a really good way to kick, but it's going to be batted back here. Chad-McKennie, he's got a try in his first game of the season, playing fullback. And that's a really well-worked try. They're kicking towards, I think it was Malachi Booth that batted that ball back. We talked about how he wasn't awesome in the air, but a great try for Manly. Lachlan, I was going to ask about the Cowboys' thoughts of the first half, but what do you think of that try?
Yeah, that was an interesting try. It was a bit of a surprising try. It was a bit of really deep kick there from, I think it was Will Kay. But Malachi Booth somehow just got up there. I think Bunty Gabola mistimed this jump a little bit, which meant that he wasn't at the highest point at the time. The ball was Malachi Booth was able to tap it back and just tapped it back. And Casey K looked a little bit surprised. He just caught and was suddenly in space, just planted the ball down.
Yeah, a bit too easy there for the Seagulls, I think. I think the Cowboys are going to be pretty disappointed with that defensive lapse. What was Chris Lord's message to the team?
Yeah, his main message to the team was he was really happy with his defense. That obviously wasn't a good example of that, but he was really happy with his defense. He just said that their attack, similar to Manly, but their attack just needs to be a little bit more creative. They said they weren't really being creative. It was a little bit too much went-out stuff, and they need to, really, really challenge the Seagulls' defense.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys made really good inroads early with their attack in the sense of their one-off running, but then they didn't build off the back of that. They just kept going through the middle. The middle definitely is open to be exposed, but you've also got to find your edges like they did for their first try, realistically, the Cowboys, when they went down that blind side to get them into really good field position to then find points. But Manly, they're all of a sudden, they got a bit of running about them. Matthew Harris is taking this ball forward now, and the Cowboys are under a little bit of pressure. Suddenly, they're behind for the first time tonight as Daniel Punch breaks 3 of 1 tackle. I think the Punch brothers have had a big, big impact off the bench in this the first and the second half so far as they kick towards Campbolo. We know how dangerous he can be, but they handle him well.
Yeah, it was a good set there after scoring points from Manly. I always like to see the set after scoring points from teams. This can be sometimes the most important set of the game. And it was a really good set by Manly. And now the Cowboys are under a little bit of pressure here. Let's see what they can do with the ball now.
Yeah, they're going to have to try and work this ball out. Mobston takes it forward. He gets to the 43rd tackle. Manly, the Cowboys, I wouldn't say they're looking shell-shocked, but they're definitely starting to come into their shell a little bit after that fast start from the Manly Seagulls. They've got to stay with it. They can't get frustrated, and it is Mobston who takes this ball towards the 40-metre line. He's about 45 metres away from the Seagulls line. It's Kaval that's going to kick into the corner. Getting there on the full, though, is Maverick Oldfield, and he'll wind up, and he beats one as well. Good run from him, and he'll play this ball just about 20 metres away from his own line. They give it to Bennett to take that next run. He turns it back on the inside to Goodwin. Goodwin, he gets over the 30. Second tackle now in Manly. They're moving forward. Vaughan at dummy half, making his SRL debut tonight. The ball gets away to Will Kay. What have you seen of Matthew Vaughan over in the Mines and in the Emerging All-Stars game, Lachlan?
Yeah, I've noticed that he's a really good passer with the footy and a really good ball player. Usually he's a traditional 5'8" halfback, but they've sort of brought him in here and are playing him at hooker, and I'm interested to see how he goes in that new position that he's not as familiar in.
Yeah, for sure. I think, we're going to see a lot of Mines players sort of being, I guess, blooded into the SRL through the bench. A lot of maybe coming off the bench to move into the centres or to play in that hooker position, or maybe some other switches in and around the game. But yeah, he's a great young player, and I think he's had a couple of clubs who did reach out to him before the draft, but he made his way over to Manly, and that's a great club to develop at. As the Seagulls, they're going to have some attacking ball now 40 metres away from the Cowboys line, and they marched forward through Jesse Bennett, and that's a strong run. Great carry, great post-contact meters, and the Manly Seagulls, they're ready to throw something here at the Cowboys. They give it off short to Matthew Harris, the Manly Seagulls skipper. He'll play the ball 20 metres out. They go long to Kay. Kay takes it on. Oh, he got through. I don't know why he passed it, but Chapman Kenny, he puts on some footwork. I think Will Kay probably could have pinned the ears back there, but he tried to find his skipper instead. So they go short here to Ben Punch, sorry. He's going to drive towards the line, but he's not going to be able to make it. And that'll be the last. It's Vaughan at dummy half, gives it to Kay, long out to Dingo. Oh, but Dingo's collected one of his players in the back. It's going to be called offside. So a bit of a disappointing end to the set there from Manly. They were building to something.
Yeah, they were building something that could have been really good for Manly. They need to get some points. I would have liked to get some points there after only scoring a try in the 42nd minute, or the last try at least. But, again, a little bit disorganised there, Manly. Chaz Dingle, I think it might have been, kicking into the back of his forwards. We don't see Manly do that very often, if ever. We've seen him do that. So, Manly will be disappointed with that.
Yeah, well, I guess it is an all-new spine. They looked really good last week, but so far this week they haven't looked great. As Maxwell tries to burn him, Chapman Kenny misses the tackle. And they're going to play the ball now on the third. They are 20 metres away, and it's going to go to Mobston. The Cowboys now, they're building to something, but they need to look for their danger men. Men like Almatagi, they go short to Cal Sarkow. Haven't seen much of him in the second half after a really busy first half, but he's going to play the ball on the Manly line. Wells gives it to Moana. He kicks for the right wing. Well, no one's really there. Take it by Almatagi. Can he find space? No, he can't. He looked a bit lost there as he took that ball, Tyler Almatagi. It was a messy end to the set, and that will be the changeover.
Yeah, he seemed a little bit surprised, if anything, Almatagi, that he caught it. I don't think he was expecting to actually catch it. Just put a bit of pressure on Maverick Oldfield. Just wasn't sure what to do. He spreads forward. He probably gets the try there.
Yeah, he's such a good instinctual player, Tyler Amatagi, but he's probably down on a bit of confidence after a disappointing end of season last season. He's got to shake that off if he wants to get back in that fullback jersey and, earn some rep honours and just get the Cowboys back to where they were last season. As Vaughan gives it to Kay. Kay, long ball, but it's going to get taken here by Cameron Hodgson. Lockie, and he will play the ball 40 metres away from the Manly Seagulls line. Chris Lord goes short now to Cal Sarkow. Cal Sarkow's getting busy again. It's good to see. He's one of the elite forwards in the SRL on his day, and he's going to play the ball. Kavar gives it to Lord. Lord almost burnt the defence there of, I think it was Matthew Vaughan, actually, the young man on debut. And now Wells at dummy half. Mobston will take this ball forward again, and it'll be fourth tackle. Wells at dummy half gives it to Moana. Moana short to Cal Sarkow. I think maybe they need to try and look to Cal Sarkow and play out the back to guys like Cooper Gronk and Tyler Amatagi. That he's just starting to get a bit one out as they're going to... Oh, they fumbled it big time. Rahan, sorry. That was a clear try, but we're going to have a dropout. Did a Manly player knock it on the in-goal first? Lachlan, what did you see?
I don't know what the ref's doing here. I am very confused. We'll have to keep an eye on that. That's very, very interesting. Just
the kick.
The replays here. I'm seeing that maybe on the way through, it seems like it does actually touch a Manly hand. Whether it goes backwards or not is a different story, but ref says it has gone forward, in fact, which is a bit of an interesting decision. Yeah,
for sure. The kick was a beauty. An absolute perfect kick there, but Kavar was unable to finish. But now they're going to be on the attack again. No, they're not. Jesse Bennett's going to take this ball. So maybe that's a bit of justice. Of course, the Cowboys, they felt a bit hard done by when they called no try to Chris Lord. There's a big shot there on Brad Goodwin. The Cowboys, they're a bit fired up now.
When was the last time you see Brad Goodwin put in his ass like that? Great hit
there. Never. He's one of the best in the SRL at the moment. They go to Harris. Harris short past the Dingo. He juggled it about 3 times, but he's going to get the try. Wow, that's a big result from Manly. You know, a bit of luck going their way with Dingo being able to recover that ball, but he shows his blistering pace there and gets his first try of the season.
Maybe a little calmer for that goal line dropout, as I thought that might have knocked on into either a Manly defender who was in front of him or a Cowboys defender, but ref said that Dingo kept hold of it the entire time, and we don't have enough camera angles to have a look at that one anymore, so Manly, they finally get another try, and this might be where we see the game open up a bit more.
Yeah, well, you know, 60 minutes into this game almost, the Cowboys have had the wealth of possession for a majority of the first half, and they've had plenty of ball in this second half too, but they've just been unable to find points. You know, you saw Matthew Harris and Chris Lord down there. They actually came to blows a little bit after that try. Chris Lord blowing up to the ref, Matthew Harris giving off a couple of sledges. So it's going to be interesting to see these last 20 minutes of this game, but, you know, right now, Manly are just showing their class.
Yeah, well, Manly, they've definitely, they've definitely shown how strong they can be, and how quickly they can score points after it go. They pretty much went from a goal line dropout to force an error, then went 70 metres to score a try. Not many teams can do something like that.
No, they're simply one of the better teams we've ever seen in the SRL. They built a big dynasty and they're looking to continue it as Jesse Bennett gets over the 30. There's still a game on here. You know, we're talking about Manly's dynasty, but only 8 points if the Cowboys can start to find some, I wouldn't say possession because they've had heaps of it, but just a little bit more luck and find some creativity and some spark as they go inside here to Chapman Kenny. Good defense on him, though, by the Cowboys in the middle there. Fourth tackle now. They're 50 metres. We're at the 50-metre line. It's going to go long out here to Matthew Harris, and he's going to pump his legs forward to the 40, and that will be the fifth and final. Vaughan, he goes long at the back to Dingo, who is in the pocket, and Dingo booms a beautiful kick into the corner. Columbus is going to have to wind up. Good defense there from Ethan Goodwin, I think it was, in the white headgear, and the Cowboys are going to have to work this ball out, as that's a shocking ball out to Caval, and they're under a lot of pressure, the Cowboys. Are starting to try things that you wouldn't normally try.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're doing there. I think it was Kieran Wells who threw it out there to him. As Johnny Columbus now.
Yeah, it's him against Chapman Kenny. We know how fast Chapman Kenny is, but Columbus, he's got a man on the left. He's going to take him on. Is he going to break through another? He does. Goodwin, he'll wrap him up. But now the Cowboys, they are marching downfield. Matagi, short pass. Is that a game changer, that run? Can he get to the line? Kalsakau, no, I think they got under the ball. We're headed to the bunker. Let's see what the referee thinks. He thinks a no try. I think he was rolled onto his back. Yes, he was. Oh, that right hand was close to the line. But alas, the Cowboys, you know, this is not good for them going to the bunker. They were catching the Manly off guard. Now they're going to have a slow start, as it's going to be a knock on. They had all that time to set for that play, and they get it horribly wrong, the Cowboys. And now Manly can march back downfield.
Yeah, whoever that centre player out there was, I'm not entirely sure. They went to go short. They went to go short to him when they usually would go for long pass, and he just didn't have his hands up, and unfortunately, just wasn't ready for that pass, and it spilled out really easily there from the Cowboys, and Manly have the ball back.
Yeah, well, that's the fundamentals of the game. You've always got to be ready to get the ball, even if you think you're the decoy runner, because you never know what's going to happen in the game. You never know how the defense is going to react to the play. So, Chapman Kenny, that's a beautiful set piece there. Maverick Oldfield got taken, but that's some really nice ball work from the Manly attack. And, you know, that looks like they're starting to click a little bit. Goodwin gives to Dingo. Dingo long to Vaughan. Matthew Vaughan's is going to take on the line. And that'll be fifth and last here in the 62nd minute. And it's going to be Goodwin that's going to stab this ball downfield. Oh, is it good? Oh, that's a perfectly weighted kick. Columbus is going to have to bring it back. The man that made that amazing break and almost scored. He beat one of the game's fastest players in Chapman Kenny. So good signs for the Cowboys there. But, you know, Manly, they're just starting to get into their system now. They're in the grind, and this is when they are just so hard to beat.
Yeah, look, Manly, they're starting to get into this sort of their rhythm right now. And if the Cowboys don't somehow break this rhythm very soon, they could be in a lot of trouble here.
Yeah, for sure. As Wells is going to go right. It's going to be a knock on. Is there? No. Damien Moana is going to top a shot for his trouble, though, as he puts his body on the line. That's going to be the last. Matagi is going to stab this ball forward. It's not going to be a 40-20, but it's a great kick regardless into the corner. How are they going to handle Malachi Booth? He beats one, but it's a good kick chase from the Cowboys. They've got to find a result here. They've got to keep them in their own half of the footy field. The Cowboys, Chapman Kenny, sorry, puts on some good footwork. They're under a little bit of pressure, as I said, but Manly, they're just working this ball out. They're staying calm and composed, and I think that's been the main difference between these two sides tonight. As Vaughan goes along to Kay, Kay gives it off to Dingo, and Dingo will just accelerate hard at the line. You know how dangerous he can be. He's had some good runs, Chaz Dingo, and he's really starting to warm into that 5/8 position tonight as Chapman Kenny breaks straight through. Maxwell's coming for him. He gets the ball away. Lewis, he'll drive forward. He's going to get dragged down. He's 20 metres away. Who's at dummy half? I think it's that man, Matthew Vaughan, on debut. They're going to go left. Can they get through? No, Dingo's just going to take the ball on, the line on, on the 5th. And that's going to be a changeover. What do you think of that intercept, Lachlan?
Yeah, not a horrible intercept. Obviously, the idea would have been to get to a kick or a play at the back, but, keeps Cowboys in their 20. They could afford, 20-second tackle reset or something like that. And instead, they're just keeping Cowboys in their own end. And at the moment, when you're up by 8 with only 14 minutes to go, that's exactly what they need to do. Just try to hold
for sure. Yeah, for sure. That's some big defense, and they're going to spill the ball here. All of a sudden, they're on the attack again. The Manly Sea Eagles, the Cowboys, they're under a whole lot of pressure. It's just been their errors that have let them down big time. Whereas Manly have cut that out. Will Kay is going to take on the line now. Can he get to the line? Maxwell's underneath. They get under him, but Lachlan, the pressure continues.
Yeah, it was a brilliant hit there. I'm not entirely sure who the hit was on, but he got the ball out. And, Manly, they automatically go back into attack. Will Kay looking like he went through there. I thought he was going to get over, but good defense and holding him out. The Cowboys want to somehow come back in this game. They're going to have to hit Manly out here.
Yeah, it's going to be hard as they go down to the right-hand side. And it's Creed Alexander Chapman who comes off his left foot. He's playing in the centres, and he scores a really well-worked try that has just about sealed Manly with the first 2 competition points of their season.
Yeah, look, if Manly miss this kick, there is an opportunity. 2 tries in 13 minutes isn't hard, but if Wilke gets this, it's going to be a very, very tough job for Cowboys to force to come back here.
Yeah, they're so good, Manly. You can't really see them giving up 2 tries in 10 minutes. They gave away 1 try in about 3, but that's all they've given up. Since those 6 points from the Cowboys, about 3 minutes into this game, as that's a beautiful kick from Will Kay. It's 14 unanswered points, or 20 unanswered points, sorry. A really, really poor, I want to say a poor performance from the Cowboys, but they definitely have been a bit lackluster since those first points that they did score. They've created plenty of opportunities, but they just have not been able to ice them, which comes back on the spine.
Yeah, look, the Cowboys, they didn't ice this opportunity. They had a lot of possession on Manly's line in that first half, and they just didn't ice these opportunities, and they didn't ice it, and Manly would just read the plays too easily, and whether it's Manly's defense or Cowboys attack, they weren't able to do it, and eventually Manly just have striked in the second half.
Yeah, we've seen that a fair bit last season, teams being able to stick it with Manly for the first 40, sometimes even 60 minutes, but they always just run away with the game. They are just such a good football side, so fit, so well drilled, and they continue to show why they're so dominant. And here comes the frustration from the Cowboys, giving away another penalty. They're a bit fired up, and it's something that Manly play to. They really like to sledge the Cowboys. They know that that's the way they beat them, by making them give away stupid errors, stupid penalties, try things they normally wouldn't, and now Manly are on the attack again.
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing, Cowboys. They want to force an error. Giving away penalties isn't the way to do it, and now Manly are inside the 40, ready to put on some... We'd expect to be some good attack here and just run away with this game.
Yeah, Dingo, he's going to give that ball away to Blackburn. Bit of a juggle there from Joshua, but he did adjust, and Vaughan's going to go long. Dingo out to Kay. Kay, short pass to Chapman Kenny. He's going to go for the line. Good defense from Maxwell. Can they put him out? They can't. Manly, they are on the attack now, big time. Booth. Oh, he gives away a bit of a wild pass, picked up by Brad Goodwin. He's going to drive towards the line. Good defense there, though, by the Cowboys. They were able to hold him up. Got a quick play the ball, though, but Will Kay gets monstered in that tackle there by the Cowboys player, and it's going to be the last tackle of this set. Vaughan gives it to Goodwin. Goodwin recovers the ball. It's going to be another set. Looks like it was charged down by the Cowboys maybe, and Goodwin recovered in the same motion. But can they hold him out here? They give it short to Blackburn. Blackburn somehow manages to end up on his back. But man, there's a lot of pressure on the North Queensland Cowboys now. It's going to be played here by Blackburn. Vaughan gives it Dingo back on the inside to Goodwin. He's going to drive towards the line again. He's looked lightly, Brad Goodwin, in these last few sets. He actually was one that tried to put that kick in as Vaughan goes right. Short pass. Chapman Kenny gives it to Booth. He pauses, but he puts the ball down. That is some excellent ball work from the Manly Sea Eagles. An excellent shift. And they come away with more points in this game. And they put the game well and truly to bed.
Yeah, look, Manly have really opened the attack in the second half. Malachi Booth scoring his second try of the day. And, well, Manly just showed a class. They had a relatively poor first half. And I think you find a lot of teams, if they made the same error as Manly did, you know, they probably would have lost this game by quite a bit. But Manly systems just get them through, and it was too easy in the end.
Yeah, it hasn't been the worst performance from the Cowboys, but they have conceded 5 tries. The goal kicking from Manly has, they've had some tougher kicks tonight, but, they could be up 30-6. So I think there's a lot for Chris Lord to work on if they want to get to that next level. That's the thing. They just couldn't get to that next level last season. And, they lost to those big teams, those teams that were at that level just above them. They always beat the rest, but they could never beat the best, the Manly Sea Eagles. I'm sorry, the North Queensland Cowboys. And the best is the Manly Sea Eagles. And yet again, they are bested by them. They're just outclassed and outplayed. So a lot to work on for Chris Lord. But they don't have to play Manly again this season. So, granted, they still make finals and they still make a good run of it this season. They've got a lot to build on before they play Manly again. So they go long out to Blackburn. And Blackburn marches forward here. Lachlan, what have you thought of the Cowboys so far tonight? And do you think they can make it to that next level?
Yeah, look, I think luckily for the Cowboys, I think this won't be the last time we see these teams first off. I just have a feeling that the Cowboys, they'll be working towards this. Maybe we could see this in week 1 of the finals again. Maybe a grand final with, how well the Seagulls are going. I think, the Cowboys, they haven't, they've been alright tonight. They started really strongly, especially in the defense in the opening 40 minutes. I thought on the line was really good. But in the end, they just weren't good enough to compete with Manly. I think Manly just simply outlasted them tonight. And that's what all it was.
Yeah, Manly, they just come at you for 80 minutes. Like, they never let up. Whereas I think the Cowboys have let up at times during this game, which has let them down big time. As the Wells will get to dummy half now, gives it to Caval back on the inside to Maxwell. I've really liked Maxwell at fullback. I think, of course, Tyler Amatagi probably wasn't at his best at the back end of last season. They've chosen to give Maxwell the early start in the fullback position, and he has shown a lot of really good signs so far tonight. Wells now at dummy half, gives it to Moana. He puts up a really, really strong kick. Booth will take it. Can they drive him back? Oh, they can, I think. Yeah, he's in goal. That's great work from the Cowboys. A little bit too late, but regardless, a really, really good play there from the Cowboys in attack. And they're going to have one more chance to try and get some pride back, try and get some consolation points. It'll be Cambola that'll bring this ball back. He throws a pass out to Irwin, and here come the Cowboys.
Yeah, that's what the Cowboys can do here. They've struggled in attack since they scored their first try. Let's see what they can do here now. Attacking Manly's line.
You look. One thing that I am noticing about Maxwell is his speed is definitely gone in the back end of games. Maybe a fitness thing. Hasn't played much fullback, as we alluded to earlier in the piece, as Hodgson got monstered there by Maverick Oldfield. So, I think his fitness is something that will definitely develop as the season goes on. So it's definitely not disaster or panic stations yet for the Cowboys, as Caval long out to Moana. Moana's just going to take on the line, but he is well handled there by the defense of the Manly Sea Eagles. Probably held on a bit long there, but they've just been that dominant tonight as Wells. He gets it back on the left hand side, butted back by Cambolo, but Maxwell, he was facing his own try line, and he got monstered in that defensive display there by the Seagulls. So he doesn't look right. He looks a bit busted after he got absolutely smashed from behind. A bit of a blind shot. And now here come the Seagulls yet again. They're able to work this ball out from their own end as Alexander Chapman shows some really good footwork there. Yeah, just it's been a bit of a disappointing game. I thought the Cowboys would have given it a bit more of a shake, but that's just a credit to Manly. They're just so good. They've just always been, for the last 2 seasons, they've just been this clinical side, and they don't look like giving up anytime soon.
Yeah, look at Manly. They've just gone to another level once more. I don't know who's going to stop them at this rate. They've just been so strong. They'll be up there once again, and it's going to be hard to see anyone but them on grand final day at least. I do want to make one point about Terry Maxwell at fullback. A couple of times his positioning has been a bit off an attack. A couple of times they kicked for those bombs, and they tapped back, and he just wasn't in the right position in the right time to step through. I have to see if he can fix that up as we end off the game here.
Yeah, well, it's been a big game. Really entertaining footy at times, but it's the Manly Seagulls who are too strong, scoring 5 tries to the Cowboys 1, scoring 24 unanswered points as well in that game to win this game 24-6. Lachlan, what were your thoughts on the game as a whole?
Yeah, look, I think this is a game of two different halves. You know, first half was a really close driven contest. The second half looked like it was going to start like that, but I think Manly simply were able to outlast the Cowboys and eventually just, they just knew if they just kept doing their systems, the points would eventually pile up. I think the real key thing here though was the errors. This was expected to be a top of the table clash. 15 errors by the Cowboys to 11 by Manly. That's something both teams have to look at fixing up.
Yeah, the error count was pretty atrocious, especially in the first half. Like, the Seagulls did sort of cut it out after that, but the Cowboys, their 15 errors is not good enough, especially against a side like the Manly Seagulls. As a result, they did have to make a lot more tackles. Some really good performers. Matthew Harris really put his hand up. Chapman Kenny was everywhere for Manly. Jesse Bennett was strong as always. One person that I was really impressed with personally was actually Will Kay and Matthew Vaughan. I thought both of those guys looked really dangerous. Vaughan on debut had some really good touches. I would have liked to see a little bit more from Lennox Prakash. He only ended up playing 23 minutes for 20 meters. He, of course, had that good run out of the in-goal, but other than that, I didn't really notice him. Whereas for the Cowboys, Maxwell, again, I thought he was pretty strong. Thought their forwards were really good. I think Cal Sarkow was probably their best. He took a run every set here, thereabouts. And yeah, I think that he's probably my man of the match for the Cowboys. One good person. We didn't see much of Cooper Gronk tonight, only 9 run meters, which is pretty average. Tyler Amatagi had 7 touches of the footy for 39 meters. They've got to try and get him the ball a little bit more, especially if they persist with Maxwell at fullback. Lachlan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I think a real key issue is Amataki was caught a bit wanting at the center role. 5 missed tackles is not ideal out wide there. He had a couple good touches, but I think I don't know about Tim Terry Maxwell at fullback. I think you'd have to put Amatagi back there next week. We'll have to see what the Cowboys decide to do. My man of the match for the Cowboys, I have to go with Callum Irwin once again. He's just such. He ran for 200 meters plus last week on a winning side. Still got 160 in a losing effort today. 2 line breaks, a try. For the Seagulls too, I think you have a player I was really impressed with was their forward pack in attack. 184 meters, 145 meters for Bennett and Goodwin. I think the outside backs, Malachi Booth and Maverick Oldfield both had some really nice touches there. And I was also impressed with young Ethan Goodwin as a last little one. I think in defense he was pretty good. I know he had 3 missed tackles, but I think he made some big tackles on players such as Kembolo and Columbus. So yeah, those my standouts for the night.
Yeah, Goodwin showed some good signs. I thought the impact from Daniel and Ben Punch off the bench, really was the difference. I think they sustained it for a bit longer compared to guys like Casey Namana, who came off the pine as well and had a good impact, but not the impact like the bench brothers themselves. But this is going to be full time here at Manly's Stadium. It's been a really enjoyable game, and they show once again why they are considered the best in the league. It has been 24-6. Lachlan, thank you for joining me.
All good, mate. And I guess we'll see you guys next time, mate.
We sure will. SRL is back, baby.